What's going on, everybody? Ryan Miner here of Face Off Sports Network, and we're here to look over Week 6 players that we should probably look at panicking on. Follow me on X at Ryan Miner underscore FFB. Be sure to follow the show at FF Face Off, and be sure to follow all of our content creators' writings at fffaceoff.com. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and like and leave a comment. We know we love it, and we like to hear from you guys. So, without further ado, let's get into the games. And one of my favorite games I'm going to get into because I'm a Detroit Lions fan, and that was the Detroit Lions versus the Dallas Cowboys. And I thought it started looking forward to a back and forth game, but it didn't turn into that as the Detroit Lions blew out, losing Aiden Hutchinson, blew out the Dallas Cowboys. And what happened to the Dallas Cowboys is they started out good, and then they just choked. So right off the bat, my first player I'm panicking on is Dak Prescott. Started off good, like I said earlier, but he ended up finishing 17 of 33 for 178 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Now, overall, I'm not going to panic too much on this just because the Dallas Cowboys are heading into a bye. But at the same time, I have Dak Prescott as a panic meter of 3 going into this. And overall, this performance did not just only affect Dak, but also affect the CeeDee Lamb, who now only has one 20-point game for the season. And for a wide receiver who we were taking in the top 5 overall, and especially in PPR leagues, is not living up to expectation. And not only did I mention this affects Dak Prescott, or not Dak Prescott, but CeeDee Lamb, but also Jake Ferguson, who many of us are starting as a back-end tight end 1. Furthermore, Dallas is on a bye in week 7. So this is kind of a nice week to have an offset reset for the Dallas Cowboys, just so maybe they get something going here. And for that purpose alone, trying to get everything adjusted here. I only have, like I said, a slight panic of 3 on him. But let's not forget, Dak still has a solid starter overall. He had one bad game. This is a bad game that we like to say as a Detroit Lions fans, the revenge game for the Lions. So I could see this script happening because it was just a bad game, and all quarterbacks have it. We see all the top fantasy quarterbacks have it. But I like I said, I'm not panicking too much. I have him at a 3 just because of what he did and what he's been doing previously the rest of the season. I expect a nice bounce back once they come back after the bye because week 8, the Dallas Cowboys get the San Francisco 49ers, who are great at stopping the run game, but the passing game, not so much on their cup of tea. So let's expect Dak Prescott to have a nice bounce back going on forward. So keep it low. Just put him on your bench as you're going to this week. Find a backup quarterback, and don't be afraid to put him back in your next lineup. Oh, running backs, as we talk about them. They have been hard to follow this season. But no other one back I'm really panicking on right now. And this is a tough one because I was huge on him last season. And that's Travis Etienne. Now, Travis Etienne, many of us were drafting in the second and third round in our draft this season. And, well, I just wasn't all about that. It was just way too high draft capital compared to what he did last year. And not to include that, also, he always going for about $34 on average in auction leagues. So once again, another high dollar value price that has not really lived up to expectations. Outside of a few receptions, Etienne has not lived up to those expectations. Heck, Tank Bigsby has had a bigger fantasy contribution than Etienne. For what that all means, it's just like, you think Etienne would be a very good player, but it just hasn't happened. I mean, look what happened this season or this last game. 3 carries, -1 yards, and he was out with a hamstring injury. And then who for us who had Tank Bigsby out there was thinking, oh yeah, he'd step right in and do something. No, it was D'Ernest Johnson. Oh, now with the Etienne and his hamstring injury, they're considering him week to week, and I am freaking out, people. I am not a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I am full panic on Travis Etienne. I'm putting him at a 10. 10 out of 10, week to week. We know how hamstring injuries are, especially at the running back position. It is not something that I like to have on my team. I'm already nervous as it is. It doesn't matter how I feel right now about Travis Etienne. I'm working on trying to get him off my team if I can, if possible. If there is anyone else out there who is willing to trade anything for him just by name base, but just because of the slight performances he's had, yeah, he's had a couple good performances, but it just hasn't worked out. What is it? What is up with this Jaguars offense? That's the biggest question there. Doug Peterson, like something has to happen with him. So if you can get out of ETN right now would be the time. I mean, it's kind of like you're so low on him because people are going to see he's going to be week to week already. I mean, Sleepers had it all over the place. Every other site, X, I'm sure Facebook's had it. So it's not a secret, that's not being well kept. So whatever you can get for him, be more than happy to try to take it because I think you'll actually benefit more if you can get maybe someone like possibly like a Tyrell Tracy plus something else. I mean, I just don't see Tyrell Tracy giving the job back to Devin Singletary. And if someone's willing to think that Devin Singletary is going to get the job back, he'd be one I'd be willing to trade for plus something else, maybe another running back or possibly another wide receiver, depending on what your needs are. Oh, my third one, man. This is one of my favorite players, and I have a lot of love for him. But this week, he got scripted out, is what I might like to say it. And that's James Conner. Now, looking at the stats alone, Conner ran the ball 7 times for 24 yards. But if you really looked at it closely, the Packers were down, or not the Packers, the Cardinals were down to the Packers 24-10 by half. And that's not to mention that the Cardinals also lost Marvin Harrison Jr. in the second quarter of that game. So with that being said, I always like to say kind of like he was against the Detroit Lions was scripted out because if you look at what Connor did prior to that, he outside of this game and outside of the Lions game, Connor saw 19, 22, 19, and 21 touches, between rushing and catches. So to say he had a bad game in 2 out of the 6, so 4 out of 6 with over 19 opportunities, I'm not really going to freak out about this, people. There's nothing to really look at on that. It's just how game script went along. But at the same time, we saw Trey Benson and Amari DiMercado get touches. But overall, Connor was the touch leader in this backfield. So with what we have going forward, I'm gonna put Connor at a 4. Like he's on my list of watching, but I'm expecting a nice bounce back coming forward as next week he gets the Chargers. So I'm gonna have it a 4 right now, based on what Marvin Harrison Jr. does going forward, because we have Michael Wilson in there. Trey McBride's healthy, so I see James Conner bouncing back, but he's starting to get on my list of players I'm starting to be more and more cautious about. Oh my God, another one. This one, a lot of people are going to hate, especially my buddy Pete over here with Face Off Sports Network. Pete, I'm sorry to say this, man, but I'm panicking on Calvin Ridley. What the hell, Calvin Ridley? What happened? You put up basically the same amount of fan points as I did. Wait, exactly. You did. You put up 0. An absolute dud. When you think of a player getting 8 targets, you're thinking, oh man, he had to at least get 60, 70 yards, something like that, caught 4, 5, 6 balls. But that didn't happen at all, people. Hebrews for nothing for third week in a row. And now, out of all the games, really only has one good game this season. But outside of that, over the last 3 weeks, this is going to make you laugh. He has seen less than 6 fantasy points in total. It's not even anything to brag about. I am not a huge fan of this Titan offense outside of Tony Pollard, who's performing as a solid RB2. And with that alone, I am putting Calvin Ridley's panic at a level 8. You look at the level 8, you think about it, it's I don't want anything to do with this passing, game at all. I don't want anything to do with Will Levis. I was high going into Will Levis being the season. I was wrong. It happens. I was thinking, I was like, the way they were building this offense this whole offseason, they're putting their eggs all in one basket on Will Levis, saying, like, he's taking the next step forward. And that has just not happened. Outside of, like I said, really one good game. Same thing with DeAndre Hopkins, one good game. DeAndre Hopkins, okay, but if I'm gonna have anyone on this team going forward, I'm keeping Tony Pollard only, just because he's the only one that has returned fantasy value that is actually worth something to me and my fantasy team. And if you're looking for someone like, I'd be willing to drop DeAndre Hopkins. Check out the waiver wire. That will be the main focus. To see who you can get, because DeAndre Hopkins right now to me is just a name. He's not performing like he should. He's just a wide receiver for, flex at best to me. So time to move on. Be sure to hit fffaceoff.com for a waiver wire article, and also check out the other videos that we have here on the Face Off Sports Network. And finally, this one is a tough one because a lot of people love it. I don't like it. But he was a tight end that a lot of us, were excited on over the last couple weeks. This week, I'm going to let it pass. He got injured. But that's Dallas Goedert. He had all one target, but let's not overreact to this because he was only out there for 3 plays. So he was knocked out fast and early. So it didn't really matter to him because we all got 0 points out of it. But as you look at the tight end position in general, outside of Travis Kelce, not Travis Kelce. I am so sorry, not Travis Kelce. I wanted it to be Travis Kelce, but it's not been him. Outside of George Kittle, Trey McBride starting to come around. Mark Andrews finally scored a touchdown. Outside of these, certain players, the tight end position in general has just been a headache. But when Goedert shines, it tends to be when A.J. Brown and or Devonta Smith are missing. And he overperformed those weeks. Weeks 3 and 4, where Goedert just blew up on there. But now, you get a healthy, full offense there. Devonta Smith's back. AJ Brown's back. You got a full offense going on out there. Saquon Barkley's going. You're looking at it. And then, not to mention, Dallas Goedert and his hamstring injury. And with that alone, hamstring injury, trying to come back on that, I'm putting Goedert here at a 7. I am panicking here on this, guys. Because it's just like when everyone's healthy, Goedert doesn't perform. But when players are missing, that's when he overperforms. And he's a good name. I like him a lot. But with that being said, it's hard to fall in love with Dallas Goedert still and going forward, unless something is to happen to A.J. Brown and or Devonta Smith. So with him, I'm going to put him in the basket of the rest of the mediocre tight ends because that's what's really left. You got your Pat Freiermuth, anyone else out there you can think of that you can basically drop him for and go pick up someone else. There's even some leagues out there where I've seen Evan Ingram on the waiver wire. So if that just tells you right then and there how tight ends are this season, that's tight ends summed up the best I can say. So we're going to wrap this up, guys. If I missed anyone, please, feel free in the comments below, ask me, who are you panicking on? I'd like to know, is it really a true panic? If not, hey, leave some comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Also, please, follow me on X at @RyanMiner_FFB. And be sure to like and subscribe on the show, Face Off Sports Network. We'll see you guys next week.